In Britain, 1 in 10 children is mixed race, and this percentage is rising steadily. It's likely that having black and white twins will no longer be such a novelty in society. A mother was rendered speechless after giving birth to identical twins who differed greatly in skin tone by a million to one. Chantal Bratton, 29, stated that she has been asked a lot of times since having her twins in April if Aeon and Azira were also hers. After giving birth to her son Aeon in Nottingham City Hospital with a fair complexion and green eyes, Chantal was shocked to give birth to her daughter Azira, who had a considerably darker complexion and brown eyes. Because of their rarity, genetics experts have previously estimated the chance of such birth to be 1 in a million. Assistant nurse Chantal, who looks white, claims to be mixed race despite having a Nigerian grandfather. Her father, 29-year-old Ashton, is half Scottish and half Jamaican. The mother of 3 stated that although the twins didn't appear to differ much more from another at birth, Azira's skin tone began to darken over the next few weeks. She said that although the 4-month-old twins have totally different personalities today, they still appear to get along. Nottingham resident Chantal stated, "I'm so happy they came out the way they are, our own special little family." Azira was little darker at birth, although it was hard to tell. She's become darker than her father in the last several weeks due to her growth. Family and friends continued to express shock. Every few weeks, Azira is much more relaxed and calm than Aeon, who is just more in need of attention. He constantly talks and cries and demands to be rocked. They are genuinely looking at each other right now, which is unusual behavior for Azira. They seem to be smiling more now, and I think that will continue. They most likely won't have the same hair. Chantal said that the twins receive a lot of attention when they go out. Joking that some people could believe they are the children of separate men. People seem to notice you more when you have a twin pushchair, she said. She asserted that nevertheless, people give her a second look when they see her out with Aeon and Azira. "Oh my god, people aren't stopping to say how different they look. Are they both yours?" Others have questioned me. Chantal reports that thus far, the twins have received nothing but kindness from others, including repeated compliments on their attractiveness from a number of older mothers. "People don't want to talk about it, but when we do, they think it's strange because you don't see it very often," she went on. "Nevertheless, because it's so uncommon, I wouldn't have it the other way." How is the skin tone of a newborn determined? Skin color is a pretty obvious example of a genetic impact. It depends on the amount of melanin, a pigment that is present in the skin cells. Each cell genetic composition determines how much melanin is present. Skin color variations, or phenotypes, are indefinitely different. They range in hue from white to black, dark brown, brown, and various shades of brown. Because each manifestation of melanin has an additive effect on skin tone, a person will get darker the more melanin they inherited from each parent. And because of this, a baby's color is frequently determined by the amount of melanin its parents possess. It is conceivable, though not very often, for dark-skinned parents to give birth to a pale-skinned kid, or vice versa, if their own parents or grandparents are paler or lighter than they are. The mother made the shocking statement that people regularly question her if the twins she gave birth to are both hers. People just pause and say, "Oh my god, they look so different," or "Are they both yours?" People have asked me. Despite the fact that most people find it difficult to acknowledge when they do, they usually describe it as strange due to how unusual it is. Because her maternal grandpa came from Nigeria, Chantal is multiracial. Because her maternal grandpa came from Nigeria, Chantal is multiracial. She goes on to say that Ashton, who is half Jamaican and half Scottish, is the father of her children and is 29 years old. The nurse said the twins' complexions contrast more now that they are 5 months old than they were before. Some people say that they change, but I don't think they would. They'll just maintain their current complexion, she said. With the passage of time, she appears to be growing darker. They most likely won't have the same hair. The texture differences is already noticeable. The boy's hair will be drastically different from the girl's, which is thick and wavy. She further mentioned that the twins have quite distinct mentalities from one another, and that her father Ashton, a construction worker, taunts them and asks whether they are the delivery driver's children. He conceded, more carefree and easygoing than he was. He doesn't like to do anything but watch her, relax, and lie back. Even though Ashton was there when the twins were born, he said he was overwhelmed and that at first the difference in color and the skin was less obvious. Their future seems bright, he says, adding, "It's a little crazy from birth. They both appeared pretty similar, although she's gradually becoming darker. She is stunning." According to a 2012 BBC report, there is a 1 in 500 chance that an interactional couple may give birth to twins with different skin tones. Twins of a mixed-race marriage from Europe have a 1 in 500 genetic risk of producing offspring with different skin tones. 50 years ago, these twin births would have been unheard of, but as interactional partnerships become more common, so do the occurrences of interactional births. Of the roughly 2,000 sets of twins born in Britain each year, very few have very different skin tones. When I think of reality, I'm like, that's my kid there, and she's got a whole different skin tone, and it's just so odd that I made her, said Shirley Wales, the mother of non-identical twins. Her daughter Hope is white, while her son Leo is black. West Yorkshire resident Shirley, a mixed-race woman, gave birth to twins whose father is white. She refers to her kid as the double of her father, but she also says her daughter shouldn't forget her mixed-race heritage. She's mixed-race even though she's white, and even if I ever fill out a form, I would say, no, my daughter is mixed-race, because I want her to be proud of who she is. Shirley took a DNA test to discover more about her own genetic makeup and the origin of this hereditary abnormality. Her birth father was a British guy and her mother is Afro-Caribbean. When she was 4 years old, she was adopted. DNA tests revealed that she was precisely 15% African and 50% European by genetics. Because of the extraordinary rarity of this, Shirley came to the conclusion that her mother was entirely African and that her ancestors had just recently left America to settle in the Caribbean. The average African American carries around 1/5 European DNA due to the history of mixed-race births in the Caribbean, which dates back to the 17th century and British colonization. Dr. Jim Wilson, a population geneticist at the University of Edinburgh, reviewed Shirley's test findings and claims that the difference in skin tone of her twins is due to her heritage and the random inheritance of several gene variations that she has. Dr. Wilson states at least 20 different gene variations and perhaps a good number more affect our skin tone. Each of these genes has 2 or more variations that affect our skin tone. Some of them we are aware of, and some we're not. One version causes lighter skin tone, while the other causes a darker skin tone. These gene variations control the amount of melanin or pigment generated in the skin. The exact genes that a kid receives from their parents and forebears are really determined by a random process. The exact genes that a kid receives from their parents and forebears are really determined by a random process. Dr. Wilson states, I picture it as a deck of cards. Envision being dealt a hand of cards at a casino where some are black and others are red. It's so awkward that Leo was assigned more African skin color variants, whereas Hope was given practically solely European skin color variations from Shirley. According to Dr. Wilson, the likelihood that twins born to a mixed-race spouse and a European partner will have different skin tone is 1 in 500. This potential only pertains to non-identical twins since they are produced by the fertilization of 2 eggs and 2 sperm. Hope's white complexion is why distinctive since it resembles a painter's palette, where the skin's pigmentation is mostly present and sometimes absent. Shirley's DNA test results showed that she possesses the gene for red hair, thus Hope may have red hair when she grows up. Emotional and psychological factors should be considered in addition to genetic variants. 12-year-old Moisha from Glasgow struggles to blend in. Although her mother Ebony and twin sister Ebony are black, she is a white woman. She says, I wish I was more like my mom because I want to be the same color as her because she's a wonderful color. Stacy thinks that her daughter's lighter skin tone base affected how she feels about her body and how she views herself. Moisha has no confidence at all, she says. It is blatantly obvious. You see precisely what you get with Ebony because exudes such confidence. This is something This is something Moisha does for all of us. Moisha has a little bit more exposure. Although she tries to fit in, I don't think she really knows where she belongs. Because Moisha's mother is a different race, she was teased in elementary school and felt isolated from the rest of her family. When she has said in the past, "I'm not from this family and I'm not the same color," Stacy has simply replied, "You got your coloring from your dad." That brings this amazing narrative to a conclusion, friends. As always, we hope you find it your taste. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button and subscribe to us to get more stories like this.